Hi, thanks for watching BibleMountain.com. In this video we're going to read from Exodus 35 and be reminded that each of us has a skill and we need to use it. We'll read in Exodus 35. The context of this is the Israelites are at Mount Sinai and they're getting ready to build the tabernacle. And let's resume reading in verse 10. Let every skillful man among you come and make all that Yahweh has commanded. Now notice the word skillful. The Israelites that came out of Egypt numbered about 600,000 men. And within a group of men that large, you would have a lot of different skills and abilities. And within that group was men who had the skills and abilities to do everything that needed to be done in order to build the tabernacle. And here, these men are being called to come forth and use the various skills and abilities they have to build the tabernacle. And then we see a listing of all the things that had to be built. And as we read through this list, think about the various skills that they needed in order to build this tabernacle. We're going to see that they had to work in fabric and in wood and in metals. Verse 11. The tabernacle, its tent and its covering, its hooks and its boards, its bars, its pillars and its sockets, the ark and its poles, the mercy seat and the curtain of the screen, the table and its poles and all its utensils, and the bread of the presence, the lampstand also for the light and its utensils and its lamps, and the oil for the light, and the altar of incense and its poles, and the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense, and the screen for the doorway at the entrance of the tabernacle. We see here in verse 15 they also had to work with incense and oil. Verse 16, the altar of burnt offering with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin and its stand. The hangings of the court, its pillars and its sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court, the pegs of the tabernacle and the pegs of the court and their cords, the woven garments for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister as priests. So again, we see here they had to work with fabric and wood and metal and stones. They also had to work with incense and oil, and they had to make furniture, tents, and also clothing. There was a lot of different skills that they needed. And within the group of Israelites that came out of Egypt, all these skills would have been there. And they were called in these verses to come out and use their skill and ability to build the tabernacle. Now we have a similar concept in the New Testament, specifically in the book of Romans, and this is chapter 12, verse 6. Since we have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, each of us is to exercise them accordingly. If prophecy according to the proportion of his faith, if service in his serving, or he who teaches in his teaching, or he who exhorts in his exhortation, he who gives with liberality, he who leads with diligence, he who shows mercy with cheerfulness. So there's a command here that each of us is given an ability and we need to use it to serve God. Now that requires a couple things. First, each individual Christian has to be willing to use their gifts and abilities to serve God. It also puts a burden on the church to provide an environment where the individual Christians can use their various gifts and abilities. I think sometimes church leaders fall into the habit of creating some grand plan and then trying to make every Christian in their church fit into their plan. The problem is there are people in their church whose gifts and abilities don't really fit into their plan. And that's a constant tension that we have to live with, but there's a burden on church leaders there to make sure that they're providing an opportunity for everyone in their church to use their gifts and abilities, not just the ones who fit their big plan. And the big lesson out of all of this, we see it in Exodus and we see it in Romans. God has given each of us a skill and ability, and God expects us to use it in serving Him, and we should do so. If you haven't joined my email list yet, please do so. First of all, it is free. By signing up, you get immediate access to all my free content. It'll be delivered right to your email inbox. This is the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of my free content. In order to sign up, go to BibleMountain.com, click on follow. There will be a place there to enter your email address. Once again, thank you for watching BibleMountain.com.